Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please rise as we welcome the TABC graduating class of 2022, 5782. Our graduates, Elia Avishor, Yaakov Solden, and Yitzi Schlagbaum perform our national anthem. Gentlemen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the
Please join together with us in singing Hatikva. Thank you, guys. That was terrific. So nice to see everyone, and so nice to celebrate together. Reshut Rabbi Adler, special welcome to the grandparents out there. Hope you enjoy the evening. Parents, faculty and administration, kol hakavod for all that you do. All of the special guests, most of all, welcome and congratulations to you guys, the TABC class of 2022. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous, but very excited to be up here with you guys. Just look out at the room. Everyone is so proud of what you guys have accomplished as individuals and as a grade. But I think more than that excitement, look out. Look in your parents' eyes and your grandparents' eyes, your teachers and Rebbeim. We're all so very excited at the thought, tremendous anticipation for what each of you will go on to accomplish along the way in your life. And that is truly an exciting thought. Most graduation speeches, they have like a mashal, a parable. It's usually something about a journey or a voyage. And then there's like the life lesson for you guys. My speech will be no different. Allow me to paraphrase the Gemara in Bava Basra, Ayin Gimel Amud Beis. Rabbi Bar Chana said that he was once traveling on a ship out at sea. And as they looked out off into the distance, the guys on the ship, they saw this beautiful, beautiful island. Picture it, a beautiful island, gorgeous sandy beaches, lush green fields. And as they got closer, they were like, this is paradise. This is perfect. They pulled the ship up close, they unloaded everything, and they went on shore. Started to get settled in, building it up a little bit. And then it was getting dark. Towards evening, they were a little bit hungry. So they started to build a fire pit, and they started to cook some dinner and bake a little bit. And as the fire heated up, the island started to rock and shake. This is the mashal part. It wasn't really an island after all. It was this huge fish whose back was sticking out of the water, and sand over time had piled on, and seeds landed there, and things grew and flourished. But to them, when they looked at it from the ship, the passengers believed it looked like solid ground. It looked like paradise. It looked too good to be true. In actuality, there was no foundation. It wasn't attached to anything. And as their fire got hotter and hotter, the fish started to roll over so it could cool its back off in the water and threw them all off into the sea. So there are probably a lot of life lessons that we could take from this story, but let's just stick with one for tonight. Graduates, maybe a little harder for parents, tonight really, in many ways, marks the end of your childhood. Whether you're heading off to yeshiva, starting college, or gearing up for your service in Tzahal, every single one of you is transitioning to the next phase of life. As you head out on your voyage, you're going to enter a world where there's a lot of very interesting and enticing and exciting kind of thoughts, ideas, philosophies, and approaches to life. Unlike our Torah values, there are many out there who believe that right and wrong, morality, it's all subjective. Everything is up to discussion and debate. What's right today might be wrong tomorrow. What's wrong today might change the other way. So as you make your way on your voyage, as you're trying to make sense of it all, deciding where you should set up your camp, where to build your lives, which ideals to believe in and which values to live by, I really, truly hope you'll remember back to the story of this very sandy fish, and I hope that you'll learn from their mistakes. As you're making your decisions and your choices, don't settle on things that are transient. Don't look at things that are unstable. Don't look at things without foundations. Don't just look at the surface. Always dig deep and stay grounded. Gentlemen, the Torah values that you've learned here and in your homes, the principles of the Torah, have withstood the test of time. They've been a constant and a source of truth and light for all of those who are ahead of you on the journey of life. And I know they will be there for you as a source of strength and stability wherever you go. Its ideals are truly, truly eternal. So, as you take what you've learned from your family, from your teachers and friends here at TABC, and using the Torah HaKadosha as your guidepost, I want to wish each and every one of you the most wonderful voyage, filled with good health, happiness, and true fulfillment. Mazel tov. It's now my pleasure to introduce our salutatorians for the evenings. Through hard work, dedication, and truly can say for both boys, refined character, our salutatorians Shimshi Gordon and Nachi Shiner have each in their own way played a very important role in our school and especially in the class of 2022. It is my honor to ask them one at a time to come and share their remarks with you.
Birshut Harabanim, Rabbi Adler, teachers, fellow graduates, family, and friends. During the last few weeks, we finished Sefer Vayikra and began Sefer Bamidbar, which Chazal interestingly refer to by the term Chumash HaPkudim, the Book of Numbers. The root pakad, Pei Kuf Daled, is an interesting choice. Why choose this shoresh for count rather than others with similar meanings like sapar, samach pei resh, or mana, mem nun hey? What aspects of this shoresh specifically apply to the Sefer? Maybe this is because pakad has many meanings other than count. It could mean remember, as in V'Hashem pakad et Sarah, and Hashem remembered Sarah. Perhaps most importantly, it is also the root of the word tafkid, one's role or purpose. The acknowledgement of individuals and their personal tafkidim in the context of Bnei Israel's journey is central to this Sefer. Sefer Vayikra emphasized Bnei Israel's experience at Har Sinai. The very last words of the Sefer are, Ela ha-mitzvot asher tivah Hashem et Moshe el b'nai Yisrael b'Har Sinai. These are the mitzvot which Hashem commanded Moshe and b'nai Yisrael at Har Sinai. The uniqueness of b'nai Yisrael's experience at Sinai is found in their description of their encampment there. The pasuk says, "Vayichan sham Yisrael neged hahar," and he encamped there opposite the mountain. Rashi and the Midrash know the unusual singular language of Vayichan, and he encamped, and therefore famously describe b'nai Yisrael's experience as Ki'ish achad b'lev achad, as one man with one heart, with one of near total unity. Considering this, there is a clear contrast between the total unity of Matan Torah at Sinai and Sefer Bamidbar, the book of individuals and their tafkidim, their purposes. Sefer Bamidbar is basically the only book of Torah where individuals in Bnei Israel stand out. It begins with a list of 12 outstanding individuals, the Nesiim, who go on to assist Moshe and Aaron with the census and to lead the troublesome nation through the desert. Unlike Shmot and Vayikra, where you could count the main characters on one hand, there's Moshe and Aaron, there's Miriam, Yitro, and maybe Yoshua, Bamidbar is a sefer which shows the power of individuality and the importance of people in Bnei Israel who become famous or infamous for making their own decisions, for taking up their tafkidim. Elazar steps into his role more so than just being Aaron's son. He leads the Leviim, he's placed in charge of the Parah Aduma, and ultimately he becomes Kohen Gadol. The Meraglim all stand out for the choices they make, for good and for bad. Yeshua and Kalev stand out as righteous leaders, willing to stand against the majority. Korach, Datan, and Aviram lead a rebellion against what they wrongly perceive as a corrupt leadership, and Pinchas is willing to fight for what's right and rise as a leader. Bnei Israel have come a long way from the Ish Achad B'Lev Achad of Har Sinai, where they'd been for the past year and a half. They divide into Degalim and Shvatim and families and individuals in a way that they didn't at Sinai. Graduation is, in many ways, our own transition from Vayikra to Bamidbar. It is our transition from the Har Sinai of the Shavuot we just celebrated to the rest of the year. The value of a high school experience, one of unity, always surrounded by friends and teachers, Ki'ish Achad B'Lev Achad, can't be overstated. The value of direct guidance from our Rabbi is unmistakable, and like the Matan Torah of Shavuot, will remain with us for the rest of our lives. This is the journey of Sefer Bamidbar, Chumash HaPkudim, Chumash HaTafkidim. We have to make the transition to our Midbar, to the rest of our lives, beyond the walls of TABC, where we will stand out as our own Kalevs and Elazars and Pinchases, as leaders, each with our own tafkid. We have to take the best parts of the unity of our Har Sinai, of TABC, with us into this world of individuality. As I make this transition for myself, I would be remiss not to thank some of my Rabbiim, Rabbi Adler, Rabbi Nachbar, and Rabbi Friedman, some of my teachers, Mr. Teef and Rabbi First, and of course, my parents. Mazal tov to my fellow graduates. Thank you.
Take the tassel off? Or no?
You can if it's annoying.
Yeah, we'll take this off.
Are you okay if he takes the tassel off for the speech?
I don't know about that. Yeah, it's not coming off, whatever. It's fine. Put it in the back. I graduated still, don't worry. Wow. I don't know, I thought I would start with a wow. Bershus, my dear parents, the Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Adler, my dear Rabbeim and teachers all around here, and our administration, who have all had such a profound impact on my life. To quote a fellow Highland Parker, I'm from Highland Park, and a past salutatorian of TABC, Alex Ostrin, my privileged Bergen County friends often ask me how I've managed to wake up at 6 in the morning every morning for the past 4 years to catch a bus to school. I believe, however, they are asking the wrong question. I would ask how my mom has managed to wake me up for the past 4 years at 6 in the morning. Thanks, Mom. Yeah. So the Medrash relates a similar story of drowsiness. Rabbi Akiva walked into a silent and sleepy room. Not so different than, I'm joking, no. Like my mother, Rabbi Akiva had to wake them up. And so he loudly proclaimed, what made Esther fit for ruling over 127 kingdoms in the Purim story? He answered that just like Esther ruled over 127 kingdoms, Sarah lived to 127 years. The Medrash is perplexing. one, why were Rabbi Akiva's students even sleeping in the first place? And two, what does this teaching have to do with waking them up? But the Chidushei Harim explains that Rabbi Akiva was sending his students a profound message. Rabbi Akiva understood that his students' drowsiness during Shir and their spiritual lethargy was due to a feeling of detachment from Hashem known as Hastaras Panim, hiding of the face. To combat this, Rabbi Akiva woke his students with the message of Sarah, who represents the unconditional, constant connection that Bnei Yisrael has with Hashem. The antithesis of Hastaras Panim. Sarah is the Sar, or officer, to the king. Sarah was the one who constantly served, who was associated with the king, Hashem. And centuries later, at the time of Purim, the Jewish people themselves were experiencing Hastaras Panim because they were entrenched in the society around them with a complete lack of spiritual connection. And it was in the merit of Sarah's 127 years that Hashem brought about Esther to the throne of 127 kingdoms to serve as Bnei Yisrael's rejuvenator. So when Rabbi Akiva saw the need to rouse his Talmidim from their spiritual lethargy, he thought, what better way to awaken them than with the message of Sari Imenu and Esther, the two women who lifted the Jews and led them to new spiritual heights. The message was clear. It's time to wake up and connect to Hashem. Despite the simple message, achieving a constant connection with Hashem is not a simple and easily attained goal, but it is a task that we must take upon ourselves. But how is one to make sure that the inevitable conflict between ideals and practicality does not overwhelm him? The Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva, Perek Yod, Halacha Gimel, states that Avas Hashem, the connection we have with Hashem, exists during all parts of the day. Whether one is engaged in spiritual endeavors or during purely physical acts, the connection with Hashem remains, and one must be cognizant of it. Rabbi Akiva's message to his Talmidim was that there is no time for spiritual sleep, for one has a constant relationship with Hashem that he must be working on. Graduations are both retrospective and prospective. Excellent vocabulary, right, Mr. McGoldrick? To be honest, Dr. Stein wrote that line anyways. But I know what they mean because of Mr. McGoldrick, so that's good. Our Rabbeim at TABC have worked to instill within us the meaning of life, which is to achieve a close relationship with Hashem. We as a class have begun to internalize this message and have motivated each other to strengthen our connection with Hashem. During the last year, more than ever before, the growth on the individual and communal level has created a cohesive cohort of striving Ovdei Hashem. Every student found his own path. Personally, my lunches with Rabbi Kessel, post-year schmoozes with Rabbi Friedman, back of Masmidim talks with Ezra Becker, the good mornings from Moshe at Sinai, and Mr. Dietz's profound answers to Ari Sher's deep but irrelevant questions during class. All of these have allowed me to personalize and deepen my own relationship with Hashem. The threads of TABC became an interwoven net springboarding us to the new heights in our relationship with our Creator. In this respect, at least for me, I use this graduation as an expression of gratitude to TABC for the last 4 years. However, graduation isn't just a reflection of the past, but a stepping stone to the future. And I charge you all behind me with this. Let's use the roots that we've developed at TABC to build a magnificent tree of life upon which we and those around us recognize and utilize the inherent beauty and meaning in the life that our Creator so graciously bestowed upon us. I'd like to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his partners, my parents, for allowing me to come to this podium and for allowing me to be here. I'd like to thank all my Rebbeim and teachers for also helping me and inspiring me. And thank you to the kids sitting behind me for making the last 4 years very inspirational and special. Mazel tov to the graduating class of 2022.
All right, I've been waiting my whole career to ask someone this. Harry, who are you wearing tonight?
I take after Mr. Steve Jobs.
All right, Luzzy, you should be a natural. Aren't you the star of the theater department?
That is correct. I originated actually. You can stop.
I asked you a yes or no question, and now you're giving me your whole bio. Anyway, Luzzy, I'm glad to have you here. Tell me. All right, Harry, after 4 amazing years, what are you gonna miss most about TABC?
Definitely Miss Shankman. He took my answer.
I'm going to miss the teachers a lot, ditching class in your office, taking a fat nap. No, going to class. I go to class a lot.
I would say EJ's because they always hit on their pies and they never miss. It's always good.
You're saying there's very few things you can count on in this life, and EJ's Pizza is one of them.
Easily.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
Top one pizza stores.
What are you going to miss most about this amazing place?
Definitely the people. I couldn't tell you or name one right at this moment, but I'm assuming the people.
All right, I'm here with Avery. Avery, I love what's going on here. It says summer. It says graduating. It says I am ready to have a good time tonight.
Of course it does. I mean, I'm so happy to be here.
All right, Ellie. So tell me, 4 years done. What are you going to miss most about TABC?
Sports teams, basketball team.
You know, I thought you were going to go like cheer or class, and you went straight for sports.
Straight for sports.
You always were an honest guy.
You know, I'll miss the constant supply of food, the random ice cream they give out. And the mac and cheese that they gave in the orientation.
Oh, you remember a mac and cheese from 4 years ago?
But I remember it was pretty good.
I'm here with self-elected class president Eitan Laub. Eitan, you made yourself a medal?
I actually got it from the dollar store, $1.33.
You paid $1.33 at the dollar store?
Yeah, because they jacked their prices, made it $1.25, and of course.
This is not the place to air those grievances. All right, Yitz, I know you're really shy, so just try to pretend there's not a camera on us.
Yeah. The thing I'm going to miss most about TABC is probably the rebellion.
I wish that I knew the people in the grade like I do now from the beginning of 9th grade, and sadly I didn't, but
that's what high school is.
That's what high school is, and now you got the memories, so.
No one's ever going to take that.
Yeah.
What's going through your head now? What are you going to miss most about this wonderful grade?
Probably reviews. Nah, I'm joking. I'm going to miss all the guys. I walked in not really knowing too many of them, but now I'm friends with a lot of them, and I got to know a lot of them very well.
I got to be honest, you grow on people. 9th grade, even though I remember the t-shirt you wore to freshman orientation. What was that shirt again?
Every pizza is a personal pizza, if you believe in yourself.
I remember that shirt, and it changed my life.
It's on my black belt to today.
And our relationship has only gone up since then. Would you agree to that?
For the most part. There have been some ups and downs and many downs, but I'd say for the most part, yeah.
We're ending on a high, aren't we?
So much to say about our next speaker. For the last 46 years, he's been teaching shiurim every day in high schools. The last 32, leading it here at TABC. An inspirational leader, in his own quiet and unassuming way, gets so much done. There's nothing that happened here, or has happened here, will happen here, without his mark. Happy to announce that Rabbi Adler will be continuing to teach each of the shiurim throughout different points of the year next year. And it's an extreme honor and privilege to ask our Rosh HaYeshiva, Rabbi Yosef Adler, to share Divrei Bracha with our class of 2022.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Finkelstein. After listening to the two speeches of our salutatorians, I don't really have to say anything. I can just say, Rabotai, look at what we produced, and I had a small part in it, and sit down and say, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your support. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Bereshus Dr. Stein, President, members of the board, and our distinguished faculty. It is a pleasure for me to participate in my 31st graduation of TABC and wish the class of 2022 a wonderful Mazal Tov and best wishes going forward. Our parsha this Shabbat begins with the words Naso et Rosh B'nai Gershon. And the word Naso et Rosh is interpreted unusually as counting. Counting. There are many words that can be used in the Torah for counting, lispor, limnot, but yet the Torah chooses in this particular situation to use the word naso, nesiut rosh, as the verb for counting. And it's a little strange, and I'd like to just share a brief thought with you as to what nesiut rosh actually means. In all walks of life, people experience depression, a lack of sense of accomplishment. I can just imagine some of my students seated right here. At the time that I gave them an 80 in Gemara, maybe even a 70, not everybody got a 90 in my class, and they're sitting here mumbling under their breath, "He ruined my grade point average." But we tried. Today is a day of Nesiut Rosh, uplifting of the spirit, of looking forward to life in Medinat Yisrael, as the overwhelming majority of graduates will be doing, and then, hopefully all of them, on to college. It has been my privilege to witness you as personal Talmidim and as students of our yeshiva. I know that you, the parents, are proud, the faculty is proud, and I personally am extremely proud of your accomplishments. And what I look forward to in the future is continued Nesiut Rosh, a lifting of the spirits, a lifting of your minds, an opportunity to make an impression wherever you will be it in Medinat Yisrael, on a college campus, and most importantly, in your own home. To make an impression and to recognize, and that your parents will recognize and say, "We are so delighted that 4 years ago we made the right decision. There were many choices, but we made the right decision to send you to TABC." I wish all of you bracha v'hatzlacha going forward, and I hope that all of you will continue to support our efforts to make sure that TABC serves the Bergen County and broader communities by producing young men who we are proud of, who recognize their responsibilities to Am Yisrael and Medinat Yisrael, and hope that each and every one of them will indeed be Se'u et Rosh, to uplift their personality, to uplift the personality of their family, their community, and ultimately all of Am Yisrael. Mazal Tov.
My first day on the job was their first day, and I remember having like that similar nervousness.
These were the nicest kids, and they all seemed to be very friendly with each other.
Their freshman year, we davened upstairs in the Learning Center, and you started to see the different personalities already. Chazanim, the Eitan Issel, Daniel Bronner, Eitan Laub, Gabbai with many different sheets posted all around.
I will miss most their office visits. My office was always filled with lots of students. It didn't feel like a job.
But there's no question that next year there are going to be days where I'm just looking around the base medrash, where's Nachi, where's Yehuda?
It was great to see how much they would walk around the hallways and just be with each other, high-five each other, hug each other.
People of different interests
but they're excited about other people's interests.
Not just in school. I've seen the way they interact out of school, and it's genuine, and it's real, and I know it's going to last well beyond their time at TABC.
The boys, they were very sweet, really good to me, and treated me with respect.
What I'll remember most is how fascinated they became with the stock market.
One word to describe the class of 2022 is really magical.
It's got to be energized.
Unified.
Gewaldig.
It's got to be 2 words. Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Diverse. I mean, they've got rabbis and rappers.
Funny. A lot of personalities. Very entertaining. A lot of energy. Leaders.
Just tremendous joie de vivre and tremendous neshama and ruach.
I would say loud. Actually, that's maybe just Sam is the loud one.
Resilient. They dealt with something at a very formative stage that not only had nobody dealt with, but it was beyond our powers of imagination. They always understood that as far as Limud HaTorah, we had a job to do. We had to do it the best way that we could. And their effort, even if I teach 1,000 years, I don't think it will be surpassed.
So I actually missed my first day of teaching them. My son was born that day. And because it was in Rosh Hashanah, I didn't get in until about a week later, and I remember telling them that my son's bris had been that morning, and then they immediately asked me whether it was a boy or a girl.
This year, in my AP Stat class, I turned around one day and I saw a baseball fly across the room and found out subsequently that there was a game going on and that every time I turned around, they threw the baseball. And the goal was for every hand in the room to touch the baseball before the end of the period without me noticing. And when I noticed, whoever was holding the baseball was out.
I posted one of their paintings. The painting I posted was by Joey Zelig. One of my friends immediately contacted me and said, "Is this painting for sale?" He sold the painting, and the whole class went berserk.
A lot of them really like to play golf, so I incorporated golf prizes into my curriculum, so if they perform well, I would bring them in golf balls. A couple of kids even won drivers.
We all got to know each other's homes from the Zoom camera. You could show me any of their bedrooms 30 years from now, I'd recognize it. And I think they'd say the same about my basement and the age of my children who were home from school.
There was practice going on. The rain started falling and kept falling and falling. The water started rising higher and higher, came up right over the sidewalk and right down the ramp and right into the gym. Rafi and Yitz and Zevi, AJ and Joey tried valiantly to get the water out of the gym, but it just kept coming back.
Around March time, Natan Salman decided he wanted to give it to our Torah. And he went through an entire shiur why we are absolutely obligated to go to Sarachek.
It happened very often that I'd come into work, emails piled up from the night before, Starbucks in my right hand, ready to sit down and tackle what's in front of me, and I open the door and there's 10 of them sitting in there.
When I saved them from getting arrested, when Mayanot wanted to call the police, when they stormed Mayanot, outrageously singing Purim songs in the middle of a gym.
Big mazel tov to you guys on an incredible 4-year journey.
Started as a freshman and now merged as real B'nai Torah.
You are, as a group, a wonderful group. And as individuals, each one of you has so much to offer.
You guys are all so unique, and you're all so convicted of what makes you special in this world.
My bracha for all of you is that you continue to be strong leaders.
Those of you who are going to Israel should grow as people, as Jews, and then continue on in college and continuing that path of growth.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you, each and every one of you, a special koach, a special gift, and we've seen that gift develop over the past 4 years. But as you continue on in life, it's up to you to make sure that that gift comes to fruition.
Whatever life brings you as individuals, remember that your hishtadlus and your bitachon will ultimately define who you are and your character.
Take that inspiration, that beauty, that neshama, and transmit that to everybody around you.
It's been really lovely watching you as a class, as a cohesive bunch. It's very difficult to think of you no longer being together.
I look forward to you coming back to the halls of TABC and filling me in on all your accomplishments.
You have the capability of making this world just a little bit more geschmack, a little bit more warm, fill that much more with Torah, and Bezras Hashem will all pack the pit in Yerushalayim b'mheira v'yameinu.
In addition to exceptional academic performance, our valedictorian, Gavi Kigner, has strong values, clear goals, and determination. He's earned the respect of his classmates and our faculty. I'm happy to call upon Gavi to deliver the valedictory address.
Bershus, the Rabbeim, teachers, my parents, the rest of the parents, Pamo, and the class of 2022. Everyone has a natural tendency to want to change the world. Everyone desires to feel that he or she is part of a larger mission, a larger context, a larger something. This is true of the greatest leaders, from Rabbi Akiva to Martin Luther King Jr. to Abraham Lincoln. Leo Tolstoy once said, "Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself." And I want to share something from Rabbi Yisrael Salanter that echoes the same point. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said that when he was younger, his goal was to change the world. As he got older, he realized that was impossible to accomplish. So he redefined his goal to only changing his country. As he got older, he realized that too was unattainable. So he modified his goal to only changing his town. As he got even older, he realized that goal was unrealistic. So he altered his goal to only wanting to change himself. And Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said that had he realized this from the beginning, and had his original mission been to just change himself, he would have changed the world. But it's not easy to change. There are many psychological theories regarding the processes for how one changes oneself. My Mara Da'asra, Reb Chaim Marcus Shlita, likes to quote a statement from Rabbi Yisrael Salanter that changing one midah, one aspect of self, is harder than learning all of Shas. So even though it's clear that changing oneself is the key to changing the world, how does one do this? It's a very difficult task. If one takes Rambam's statements in Hilchos Teshuvah as a given, that each and every one of us has free will, then each and every one of us should have the ability to choose to change. But I'd like to share something else that appears throughout Rav Avram Yitzchak Kook's writings. To change, one has to detach him or herself from his or her actions. Often, people will root themselves in a perception of self, and that will actually debilitate his or her ability to improve or change in any way. But Rav Kook says, in order to achieve change, one has to take this necessary step. In a relevant example to our class, one cannot view himself as someone who breaks walls by jumping into them, but as someone who broke a wall by jumping into it, by a live physics experiment. That is the key to changing any aspect of oneself. It still isn't easy. Of course, it takes work after coming to this realization, but it becomes possible to improve and change if you recognize that you are not defined by your actions. The ability to change has arguably never been more evident than on this stage tonight. In front of you, there are 73 students who have changed in ways big and small over the past 4 years. You would not believe that there's a student up here who could not read a line of Gemara, and I'm not exaggerating, I knew him, and recently completed 2 years in the top shiur. Or there's a student who failed middle school math and recently completed BC calculus at the top of his class. There's even a student, or many students I should say, who came in very shy, but began expressing themselves more artistically through various instruments, through poetry, through rap. And I do not doubt that this is only the beginning for our incredible class. Over the past 4 years, we have shown that we can adapt to once-in-a-century circumstances, unprecedented circumstances, at the very least for our generation. There's no doubt that we will continue to change and grow. My fellow graduates, let us be the ones who move ourselves so we can move the world. Thank you very much. If you have not, its album on Spotify airplane mode.
All right, guys, looking great, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're supposed to say you too.
You too.
What would you tell incoming freshmen? A certain class they should take?
I would say that your self-confidence is key. Don't be scared of what anyone else thinks.
Thank you, Mr. TED Talk.
You gotta manage your time between your family, your friends, and schoolwork, and you gotta find that right balance.
That is very eloquent.
You should really just take in the brotherhood from the moment you walk into the doors of TBC as a freshman. I could say for myself, I could say for Zachary, we were friends with seniors as freshmen from the start, and as a senior, I could say I was friends with freshmen from the start.
I can tell your mom made open house videos based on that answer. So you, as student council president, you think the school should allow students to just go to class when they feel like it?
I do believe that should be the case. I think that by pushing kids to go to class, it's not, except for Mrs. Gottlieb's class, that is a requirement for every single kid that comes through the halls of TABC.
Okay, Mrs. Gottlieb, everyone is coming over for pictures. You are like, it's celebrity. You need a bodyguard.
Okay, fine. You want to take the job?
No. What does it pay? But other than that, everyone should go when they're ready. And when they're not ready, they should stay in my office and bother me.
Well, you have to be on the sports teams to get in its office.
Fake news.
I would say just show up to stuff. You're only here for 4 years, and it flies by. So
show up.
TBC sets you up for success. Just embrace it.
Show up. Get out of bed.
So my biggest advice would be always have perseverance, determination. You're gonna get where you want to go.
When I was in elementary school, my teacher said middle school would be hard. When I was in middle school, they said high school would be hard. And now they're saying that about college, so now I'm just on to the next.
And so you just put your head down and you plow ahead with hard work and perseverance.
Day by day.
Be open to being friends with everybody, and just even if you're coming with the squad, just be open to making new friends, and even if it's not within your grade either.
What would you tell an incoming freshman who just joined the Storm Nation?
All right, a lot of people.
First of all, get your hands off my mic.
Make sure to actually talk to everyone in your grade. Make sure to know every person. You can learn something from everyone.
Get out of your small inner circle, right?
Yeah.
Duh. All right, what do you got?
To sharpen that, I'd say make connections, and it'll really enhance your experience that you have in high school.
That's right. Become friends with Freddie. That will go a very long way.
That will probably set you up for life.
Thank you so much. This is really awesome. I appreciate your time, and before I go, I would like to look in your glove box to make sure everything's copacetic.
I believe you need a warrant for that. I'm sorry.
A lot of people try to come into TBC and try to act cool and everything, but I think what you should do is try to find your friend group that you're going to stay with the next 4 years and just have great connections with them instead of just trying to impress everyone.
Be yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Be the real you.
Yep.
Be the true you.
Yeah.
Don't fake it.
Yeah.
Don't fake it till you make it.
It's true.
There you have it. What makes you so popular with these seniors?
I have no idea. I guess I laugh at all their bad jokes. I don't know. What do you think?
All right.
They're happy. I'm happy. And it was a nice class. I'm happy they finally graduated and they're not coming back next year in my class.
When we asked the class of 2022 to pick one person from their grade to represent them tonight, the choice was clear: Natan Solomon.
Good evening, rabbis, grandparents, parents, friends, honored guests, teachers, former principals, and the graduating class of 2022. As Rabbi Finkelstein said, my name is Natan Solomon. You probably don't know me because I spent most of my high school career on the bench for the hockey team. Lucky for me, the criteria for speaking today had nothing to do with my skills on the court, or the lack thereof. Instead, the school administration surprised us at a spur-of-the-moment assembly one morning and asked us to vote on a class speaker. I have to say, the United States electorate might want to take note, as our election was surprisingly civilized. Nominations were submitted, votes were cast, and after the powers that be conducted some quick background checks and ran a few attendance reports, I was somehow the last man standing. So I'd like to begin by thanking my fellow classmates who thought that a kid from Yeshiva Noam and the other side of Teaneck, who came to the TABC with nothing more than a hoodie and a dream, could grow up to be the class speaker. Since graduations are all about looking back, let's start at the beginning. It was only 4 short years, or 37 principals ago, that the class of 2022 first stepped foot into TABC. It was a simpler time. There's no such thing as Zoom bombing, Dr. Sign, or senior trips to Syracuse. Little did we know, 9th grade would be our first and final normal year, or whatever qualifies as normal at TABC. To illustrate this, our freshman year was also the first and last time that the school brought the 9th grade on the Welcome Back Shabbaton. Many of us remember that Shabbos because of the epic rap battle that took place, led by our in-house rapper, Shlomo Dahan, also known by his stage name, Salo. Yeah. For all those who don't know what a rap battle is, when Nissim Black came to TABC a couple weeks ago, he described it as a back-and-forth exchange of Lashon Hara with a beat in the background. After that freshman year, things started to get a little crazy. In fact, I don't even remember anything that happened in the beginning of sophomore year, and I'm not sure anyone on this stage does either. I do remember that we had a good chance of winning the JV Hockey Championship before the Yeshiva League shut down for COVID. I guess that's when we really shifted from an athletic to an academic class. Somehow, our grades all soared once we were on Zoom. Shout out to all the teachers who thought it was a good idea to give tests remotely using the honor code. My GPA was never higher at the end of that year. If only that had continued, I might be addressing you as the valedictorian tonight. But alas, junior year came and the newest administration attempted to recover some sense of normalcy. It didn't work. We wore masks for 2 hours, spent the Chagim in quarantine, and later in the year went on our second of 3 rafting trips. In fact, after all these rafting outings, I'm excited to announce that our 4-year high school reunion is tentatively scheduled for the 2026 Summer Olympics slalom canoeing tryouts in Milan. Before we knew it, senior year arrived. Nothing interesting happened then. When we returned to school after winter break, we met with the new sheriff in town, who told us in no uncertain terms that the party was over. No more allotted 8 absences, no more driving off campus. Hi, yes. And absolutely no dancing in Mayanot and Rosh Chodesh. The friendly man from the school that shall not be named might not have been what we were expecting for the end of our TABC careers, but we grew to love him anyways. Which brings us to tonight. Tonight is the conclusion of a wild 4 years with 73 of the best friends, brothers really, that anyone could have. And while these 4 years were nothing we ever could have predicted as bright-eyed 14-year-olds, that is precisely what makes them so special. If there are any incoming freshmen in the audience tonight, first, I'm asked to remind you that your tuition payment plan is due shortly. But I also want to say that the 4 years you picture may come with twists and turns, disappointments, and surprises. But they will all make your TABC experience more colorful, unique, and exciting than you ever could have imagined. I know the highlight reel for the class of 2022 might have some bloopers, and sometimes I wonder what a different high school experience would have looked like. But as Kanye once said, I guess we'll never know. Congratulations, boys.
Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for. Going to present the diplomas. We ask everyone to please remain in your seats. There's a professional photographer up front, and we don't want to block anyone's view. We'll give everybody a chance, a diploma, as well as a gift from the school.
Yaakov Abrahams. Sam Ashendorf. Elia Avishor. David Besechis. Ezra Becker. Jacob Becker. Zachary Becker. Noah Beckhoff.
Here we go now, here we go again.
Andy Brock.
There's a smile deep, deep within
Sholi
you.
Brock.
This song's for singing arena.
Daniel Bronner.
Why wait to celebrate? Bright lights in city streets.
Itai Allen.
Why wait to celebrate? Clap now and stamp your
Monty
feet.
Cohn.
Why wait to celebrate?
Gershon Colton.
Bright lights in city streets.
Rafi Kornick.
Clap now and stamp your feet.
Shlomo Zahan. Nathaniel Ekman. Eliezer Friedbauer. Yehuda Fromm. Yaakov Gallendauer. Yaakov Gelfand.
Why wait to celebrate? Bright lights in city streets.
Elia Gershon.
Why wait to celebrate? Meheiro Yishoma. Clap now and stamp your feet. Why wait to
Zachary
celebrate?
Gibber.
Bright lights in city streets. Why wait to
Zeb
celebrate?
Goldman.
Meheiro Yishoma. Clap now and stamp your feet.
Shimshi Gordon. Daniel Grin. Eitan Gulich. Yaakov Halstuk. Benny Hamov. Shlomo Jacob. Zachary Jerome. Luzzy Younger. Yis Kamenetsky. Gabi Kigner. Avery Clark. Ephraim Koymans. Yoni Krantz. Yosef Kreisman. Eitan Laub. Ezra Leibowitz. Alicia Levin. Joseph Mann. Alicia Markovitz. Zach Melzer. Svina Orr. Eitan Nissel. Harry Orlinsky. Joshua Orlinsky. Michael Riskin. Andy Rosenberg. Benjamin Rosenblum. Yishai Rothschild. Nandi Rudnitsky. Ellie Sachs. Aiden Samet. Nahli Shiner. Hanan Schreiber. Yosef Schwartz. Semi Siegel. AJ Sepkowitz. Yitzchak Shapiro. David Shiowitz. Ari Sher. Yitzi Schlagbaum. Natan Solomon. Ellie Spates. Noam Stern. Yaakov Soldan. Yehuda Wiener.
A little bit of history I've been through. Ask me where I'm from, and I
Shmuel
will tell you
Yablok.
I'm a Jew, and every Jew's a proud Jew. Not just me, my sisters and my brothers. Never be ashamed to be a proud Jew.
Joey
My
Zelig.
son, it's how he made you to sing this song and spread the pride around you. Yehudi Ani, eternally.
Yoni Zelkowitz. And Ben Zim.
Gentlemen, you can officially turn your tassels. Before the official tossing of the caps, by the power vested in me by the state of New Jersey and God, I am proud to pronounce you graduates of the Torah Academy of Bergen County, class of 2022. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, Simon tov, Mazel tov, Simon tov, Mazel tov, Yeheyanu, Simon tov, Mazel tov, Simon tov, Mazel tov, Simon tov, Mazel tov.
Please remain in your seats as the graduates leave the room. Please rise, graduates. Okay. Mazel tov, Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, Simon tov, Mazel tov, Simon tov, Mazel tov, Yeheyanu.